lot of you guys said that this would probably happen, and I think that you're totally right. Like, welcome back to Bonanza Disc Golf, and I know it hasn't been that long since we actually built this bag right here, which has all the discs that I've been throwing for the off season, and as you can see, there are a lot. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I think that these are too many discs to be carrying during a round, and I feel, one, spoiled for choice, so I don't tend to make 100% the best decisions just during my normal training rounds. And two, I think I throw too many practice shots, which has been a part of me just needing to recover more, instead of just playing my shot and playing a practice round or just a training round or just a fun round continuing to learn these discs. So today I want to switch up this bag. We're not really gonna play with it today because I already have some other videos that I'm gonna be filming, but I want to kind of give you my thought process when building a bag and when paring down a bag from all these discs and basically fitting it in here to fitting it in a little bit smaller of a bag. Actually, these are all discs that I'm gonna be reviewing, not today, but soon. Here is a lineup from Infinite Discs I'm super pumped about. A lot of really cool discs here. Halo Faro looks incredible. Super stoked about throwing that because I love the Faro as a mold. Wild discs right here I'm also super stoked about, including the new Tasmanian Devil, so those will both be filmed hopefully pretty soon. And then the last one I'm actually going to leave to the side because we're actually going to be using it today. Divergent Discs. Really interesting company. Discs that are not made for professionals, or so they say. This bag is the Discology OG V2. This one is the Izzo. I have these bags linked down in the description if you want to pick some up. They're basically just cheaper versions of some more premium bags. I'm not sure if Discology would love the way that I just put that, but they don't sponsor me, they don't pay me to say anything. They just give me an affiliate commission every time that I make a sale for them. So pick those up if you want. First things first, we gotta take out disc retriever and some water bottles. I always love carrying 2 water bottles because I'm a thirsty boy. I got a bunch of minis, so if you ever see me on the course, always ask for a mini. And then just another retriever thingy, some bars, and then some disc dots that I've never tried to use before. So that's fun. Got a goat here because I still have the offer in the air for another 2 people who want to get some goats if you find me on the course. And then let's start by looking at all the putters right here. Obviously, I like to always carry at least 2 putting putters, typically 4 actually. And I putt with the Pures. I do have some that have my stamp on them. Some of them are misstamped, which is actually pretty cool. But it's really warm in Florida, so I prefer the Retro over the Zero Medium. I prefer this when it's like under 70 degrees, but both are really solid. So we'll actually already got 1 disc out. Now the way that I've been thinking about rebuilding this bag is starting everything with a very neutral disc and then finding something, if I need it, that is more understable, and then also something that is more overstable, but really trying to limit it to about 20 discs, not including the putting putters, because I think in here I have around 30, which is just way too many. This isn't gonna probably be the bag that I actually use for my season. It's just still my off-season bag. Some discs I think will stay, and I think I've already figured out a couple of those, which I'll tell you along the way. If you have a question about this sleeve, I actually made a video on my second channel that you can check out. That'll probably answer it for you, but you'll probably be seeing it for less than a month. Okay. One thing that I actually did that helped that some of you guys suggested was I took out the side paneling because it doesn't actually need them super much, especially since I'll probably fill out this bag, since these top pockets aren't really the best for discs a lot of times until you fill everything out. Actually, I'm gonna have to move these to the top pocket. I definitely think this top pocket construction could use a little bit of work, or I just don't know why everyone is so insistent on using these Velcros. Like, get a zipper or something that you can put down here. It'd make life so much easier. It's probably more expensive though. So we're gonna look at just the putters, which I all have in this one big pocket up here, which is really nice. And right now, I carry a few too many. I think the neutral one that I'm gonna base a lot of things around is the P1. I just really get along with this disc well. D-Line P1, I actually have a backup because this is from a review video that I did against the Pures. So this is gonna start our putters right over here. For a more overstable version, I'm definitely going to actually be bagging the Envy because I was missing a more overstable putter. I've had the 2E in the bag, but it seems maybe like a slightly longer P1 because it's supposed to be a little more understable, but it's not quite. So I actually don't think I'm gonna be bagging this anymore for now. I like it, it's a good disc, but I think there's too much overlap. And so I was like, hey, should I throw the 2E or the P1? Because the P1's a 2-speed, sometimes I would get in my head and I'd be like, oh, I would throw the 2E because it's a little farther when the P1 might have been a better option in terms of flight. But one of my Shatter Van Envies is going in here. I have a glitch, which I kind of want to keep in the bag because it's a lot of fun. So I'm just gonna leave it over here. And then big shout out Aaron Garcia. He's the one who sent me out the first Jokery. He actually sent me another one when I had to give it up to Thomas Gilbert in that video. So I think that Jokery actually might make the bag again because I really like this for approaches. And I was kind of thinking about putting the Pig in that slot as well. And I'm not sure which one I like because this one has my stamp, which I like a lot. And I really like the Pig. But I think I'm gonna start, I don't know. I think these have enough variability that I want to put them both in, but we're gonna put them to the side with the glitch and decide on that later because I don't want overlap, but I want more discs. Not a good combination. Okay, next up, let's talk mids. I have a lot of mids in here. Not all of them that I love. Actually, not crazy too many. There is a spot that I really miss, which actually was because of the last Nuke It in the Bag giveaway where I gave away those 5 discs. The winner wanted the Hooligan flip, and I kind of really want that disc back. So I might actually get another flip because I really like that super flippy mid-range slot because I don't have that right now. The flippiest mid that I have, I think, is the Fuse. The new Opto Ice fuses are really nice. Came out really good. I think there are actually some of these still available today on my website, but it's pretty straight to understable. Not very, very flippy. Like, it'll hold your line and move right, whereas like the flip, it'll flip and move right, if you understand what I'm trying to say there. The neutral disc that I want to build everything off of is the Hex. I've been really liking the Hex and getting along with it well, especially since I'm throwing more hyzers. It is definitely very neutral. Simon calls this thing the perfect MD1, and it's definitely a really solid mold. 5.5, -1.1 are the numbers, and it is definitely true to that. I don't think it's like crazy farther than a lot of mid-ranges, but I really like just the flight of it, so that's gonna actually go in my bag. There's actually gonna be more axiom in here than I thought there would be. And then I have the Pathfinder and the Reactor that I've been playing around with. I don't know if I honestly like either of them. They're a little bit more stable than the Hexes for sure. I think I might want some of these. But the purpose of this bag isn't to be my perfect tournament bag, it's to be my play around bag that I plan on getting really good with each of the discs. So I don't actually think I'm going to want a straight to overstable mid-range. I just want the straight one in that Hex and then just put a little more hyzer. It's not the perfect thing for shot shaping, but I think that the next disc that I do want to keep is the Kotuku from RPM discs, which they say is 5.502 and is definitely a 0.2. A lot of these 0.1s or like even the EMAC Truth is 5.502 and it is not even close to as overstable as this. It's pretty flat, but it is a like very throwable straight to overstable mid-range. And I think that this is where I would oftentimes want those discs to be, but they're slightly straighter. And so I think either just putting a little more hyzer on the Hex or a little more anhyzer on the Kotuku will help to teach me those shot shapes a little bit better instead of relying on another straighter disc, because the point isn't to shoot as incredible as possible with this bag, it's to do that while also learning discs and lines and shot shapes. So we're gonna actually throw the Kotuku in there. And then the last disc that I'm also playing around with is the Glass Ursus from Terminal Velocity disc. It's 5.403 are what the numbers say it is, and it's definitely more overstable than the Kotuku. It's one where you can put on some Annie and it'll flex out of it and come back to the right. Probably on a backhand because I'm not really throwing forehands right now. But I don't know if I have a place for that I wouldn't be able to power down on a fairway, and I kind of want to learn that, but I also want to learn this. So this is also going to go in the kind of maybes slot. I think I am gonna put the Fuse in the bag. I think it is more understable. I would probably want something slightly flippier, and if like I got a flip again, I probably would change that for the Fuse. Even though they're very different discs, I would rather have the very flippy version that I could try to manipulate. But we're gonna throw the Fuse back in the bag. All right, the sun decided that it really wanted to come out, but let's go ahead. These are the maybes. Look at the fairway drivers. Actually, I have another mini. I'll just throw that in there. But in the fairways right now, I have a pretty robust-ish lineup, so it would seem. Starting at the very understable slot, I have the Innova Archangel, which surprisingly is made in the bag. I kind of feel like this is similar to a Heat-ish. I like this more just for like very utility shots, rollers. It's definitely not the neutral version. It's definitely not my favorite disc, but I like having something this flippy in the bag. I honestly kind of want to beat it in more to be even flippier, but I think we're gonna put that in the bag in the flippy spot. Kind of moving into the neutral-ish versions, I have my Birdie Disc Golf Supply Strike, which is one of my favorite discs. Oh, come on, buddy. The Strike is one of my favorite discs that I've ever thrown. I have this pink and blue one that you've seen all over the channel, which just like does exactly what I want it to. And I think for the sake of this bag, I'm actually gonna take it out of the bag. Not because I love it, but because I'm gonna save it for the season and actually work this one. Actually, do I have a cooler color? I kind of like this color, but there's a lot of colors that I have. Let me see. Pinks, pink and purple. Ooh, that pink and purple is sick. I think we're gonna stick with the green one. Yeah. Why not? So this one I've thrown a couple times, but it's not as beat as the other Strike, because the other Strike I've thrown into a ton of trees. It's been in my bag for 4 or 5 months. And so this one's gonna be the one that stays in the bag. It has a lot more finish than that one right now, but I think it will work in to be like that one in a month or two, which is perfect because I don't play with this bag a crazy amount of time, and I want a couple discs that are that kind of beat in slot from the Strike because I like both of the different amounts of fades that they have. Just kind of neutralizing the fade as it beats in. The fairway driver I think is where there's a lot of ability to shot shape based on the disc rather than manipulating the angle like a mid-range, because the mid-range isn't going to move as far to the right or the left as the fairway drivers will. So letting the disc do that work right or left versus you putting it on an angle that'll move right or left, I think is more important with the fairway than a mid-range. Probably a dumb take, but that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. And so honestly, one of the other discs that I thought about putting in my bag that I actually just ran, which are sold out, are the Craves from Axiom, and I really wanted this to be more of the Essence slot, which I can use as a kind of power-ish roller. I also like this disc just for long turnovers where it's not as flippy as the Archangel. It's not gonna just burn into the ground. And I wanted the Crave to be that, but the Crave is more like my beat and strike. So these are actually gonna go out of the bag, unfortunately. Really good discs, but Essence is gonna stay in that flippier slot. And then we kind of need two more types of fairway drivers. One is more of a control driver, 9 or 10 speed that's overstable, and then just an overstable disc. And so for that, right now I have my new Champion Firebirds, which there are some of these still available, I believe. And I also have a Sexton Firebird, which I think the Sexton is more of a control driver, whereas the Champion is a little more overstable. They look pretty similar. I think I'm gonna keep the Champion one in the bag for my just overstable slot. And I actually don't really have a control driver slot right now, which I don't think is the end of the world. And I think it's not the end of the world because I think my problem with this bag was I put so many discs into the bag and then I had too many choices. And now I wanna go and play some rounds with this bag, which we'll have some videos coming out relatively soon of playing some really tough courses here in Florida, or at least some of the cooler courses in the area. And I'd rather start with this and realize, hey, maybe I do need a different disc instead of trying to force more discs in here that I think I might need and then end up never using them or using them as a second or making me second guess things. So these don't have enough overlap that I would throw any of them on the same shots more than likely, and I'd be able to manipulate a little bit different shots. So I like that. Let's get into drivers though, which is the most confusing thing for me right now. Also, this is already what we've taken out of the bag, and we haven't even got to the drivers. Okay, let's talk distance, boys. We got not a lot, and I am not confident in any of these. I actually have some cool distance driver videos coming out in the next couple weeks that I'm very excited about because I think I'm gonna do something a little crazy. Right now, let's just start at the neutral slot, which I don't really know if I have a great option for. I think the Enigma is what I have been throwing there, which is good. I kind of want something that's a little domier than this though, but I don't really have it. I don't really have a great neutral driver. And so I think, I don't love the Enigma, but I don't hate the Enigma. So the Enigma is gonna stay in the bag in that slot because there's not really a lot of drivers that I love. I think I loved Graces for a while, but I'm trying to not throw those right now for the off season. I don't know if those are ever gonna go back into my bag, but I like them a lot. And then we have the understable and overstable slot. There are definitely like a couple more that we could fill in with these distance driver slots, but I don't know if I need that right now for this bag. This is kind of trying to be more minimalistic. I think the next one that's gonna be hard is if we look at overstable. I really like both of these discs, the RPM Kotare and the Mint disc Goat. I really like both of these for the overstable slot. The Kotare is a little bit gummier, which I do like. These ones are a little bit stiffer, but I also feel like the Kotare might be a little longer than the Goats are. I don't really know, honestly. It's kind of tough. So let's move on to understable instead. I have had Shrikes or Sheriffs or Pharaohs that you could throw in this slot. And I really, really, really like the Pharaoh, which I think is an old Shrike mold. I'm not 100% sure, but I really love the Pharaoh a lot. I actually lost one that I was throwing for a bit, and this is my first ever tournament disc. I'm really excited to throw the Halo Pharaoh and see how that actually flies. But for now, like for the understable slot, there's not a lot that I have besides this, but I really like this disc. So I'm gonna keep this in, try not to throw it by water, kind of force myself to get over on an Enigma or something if I need that, because I'd rather replace that than that disc. Tentatively, that is going in the bag. And then we just have to find out this overstable slot. I think I'm gonna keep the Goats in the bag. One second run Desert Goat, one first run Goat. I have a video all about the Goats and the different runs if you wanna check that out as well after this one. Kotare I really liked, I really like it. This is still probably gonna fight for a slot in my bag for the season. We'll have to see versus the Goat, and it might actually kick out the Goats at some point if I'm not liking them for whatever reason, but for now, that's gonna be what this is. That's tough, that's really tough. I'm also gonna add a second Goat in here, just as a giveaway Goat. Actually, you can just take the Goat that's in my bag if you find me on the course. But that brings us back to these three boys. Do we have any room for them? I think the glitch is mostly just fun. I think we actually have room for all of them if we wanted to, but we're not gonna need to. I do wanna put the Ursus back in the bag because I want that very overstable mid-range. It's not Justice quite. It's not quite Justice, but it's getting to that area. And then for the Pig and the Jokery, I think that they serve a little different purposes. I think the Jokery is much more of a driving. A part of me wants to put all three of these in there. Do they fit? Because I like the glitch too. Okay, they don't honestly quite fit, and I want this to be a very comfortable fit. So I think I'm gonna have to choose between the Jokery and the Pig. I think it's gonna be Pig for now. Feels like a little bit of an upset because I really like the Jokery, but I think I'm gonna try out the Pig, and if I'm not getting along with it, or it's not doing what I want, Jokery's going back in the bag. I just like the little bit less glide, and I think we're gonna put the glitch in here for fun. So Also, it's got my stamp because I really like that. But yeah, I mean, a pretty simple bag, which I think is going to actually do me better than the old bag, which had so many more discs. I took out all this. All this is gone. And that's a lot. That's a lot of choices that I don't have to make anymore that I think my discs will make for me, and I can really get to learn these better, because some of them I think will make my bag for the season. Some of them I definitely don't think will. I might need to add like a control driver slot. I might need to add a flippy disc in the putter mid-range department. But for now, I really think that I have a pretty solid bag going, and I'm really excited to play with it. So if you want to see that video, definitely subscribe. It'll be coming relatively soon. I'll put a video where I play with this bag up here after it comes out, but I'm about to head onto the course and actually play with Divergent discs, do a couple other reviews as well, and we're at 65th Infantry Park, so subscribe for those videos. Check it out. Go subscribe to my second channel. Watch this video right down here. I think you'll like it a ton, and hopefully you enjoyed kind of the simplifying process. I know a lot of you guys said that this would probably happen, and I think that you're totally right. Like, I didn't necessarily think that it wouldn't, but I like trying a lot of discs, and I think that playing with that very eclectic bag, which didn't seem to have a crazy amount of rhyme or reason, and I think it was good for a little bit to learn what I did and didn't like from each of the discs that I even took out of the bag. And I think now having this is going to help me to dial in my shot shapes and angles, which is something that I'm trying to do as I start to work a little bit more on dialing in my form for the season. So if you want to check out Project 100 videos, which is those form things, check it out right down here. That's a lot of rambling though, and I appreciate you guys staying around for it. Okay, love you, bye.